For the average viewer out there that's trying to improve their finances, what are some things that you would just generally recommend for them to be in a better financial spot?
Just to start with just the basic budget. Literally any budgeting app. I have some preferences, but literally any budgeting app. I have an extra preference towards Simpler Budget because you just got to do the simple things. That's what a lot of people fail on. Is a lot of people try to get the crazy spreadsheet. A lot of people try to get the, download the you need a budget, and then it's like a trillion billion things. Literally just the basic start of setting up the budget, understanding just what your even income is. People can't even answer the damn income question sometimes. And then just understanding what's going out. It always blows their mind when I tell them how much they're spending versus how much is coming in. They have no idea. So literally just creating that simpler budget. That's why I made the Simpler Budget app for the basics. People just getting started, want to change their life, take control from the first time. It's just that basic thing, dude. Starting with the budget. From there, then it's just the foundations, right? What are the goals you're trying to hit? Got to get that emergency fund. Or are we trying to pay off high interest debt? What's our life situation looking like at that time? Do we need to make sure we have a little extra cushion before paying off that debt because we have kids? You go from there, but you got to start with the budget. People just don't know how much money's going in and out.
I remember back in college, I did this where I created a mock budget for a fake family that lives. It was a husband and wife, or boyfriend, girlfriend, whatever, two people, and they have a child, and they were affording a car, gas. I allocated a budget towards rent, towards X, and I found an actual place, everything, even childcare. I got the average healthcare costs. I got food budget costs from the census, everything. And they were able to still save, it was like $5,000 a year, which is a pretty substantial amount. And that's not accounting for any growth in income, just working standard hours. And I remember I got in college when I did this presentation, so many people were like giving me backlash from this. But it's so weird. It's like, am I then supposed to instead say, oh, if this is your situation, you're screwed? There's nothing you can do.
Yeah, I know.
You know what I mean? It's like, okay, well, if you do the right things, then good things will happen. But the only other thing, the thing that people want you to say is that, oh, there's nothing you can do, you're screwed.
I mean, that's definitely easier. It's to put the head in the sand. It's easier to assume that everything's doomed and gloomed. Why work? Why make it? Why put in effort? Why sacrifice? Live uncomfortably for a second? I mean, there are real situations to acknowledge of, like I've had a few people that live in pretty shitty situations and like, fuck, I don't know if they can afford to get out of there. I think it's also important for people to probably know their rights as tenants as well. I had someone, I think it was the person I was talking about earlier, that where they were an orphan their entire life. They live in a place where like you literally can't stand in the shower because you fall through. Like you need to know your rights and just talk. You try to get connected. I think we sent them links to pro bonos.
Wow.
People that would be interested in pro bono work, in that space. So it's important for people to know their rights as well if they are getting fucked. Because there are situations that are fucked. Just know your rights. There's laws in place for a reason. So a lot of people just don't know.
What do you think about cash stuffing in envelopes?
For some people, they need that little extra help. If it's digital, they can't track it. For me, I can't track it if it's cash. I need the digital number. If $1 goes down on my bank account, I'm like, ooh. But if $1 goes out physically, I'm like, oh, it doesn't exist. But yeah, some people, like if it's digital, they have no control. So envelope systems been recommended a few times on the show, quite a few times.
But what do you say to the people who want to get a side hustle? How often is it actually worth it?
It's worth it it's really worth it when they don't have that wiggle room. On the tightest budget, no Spotify with ad free. Even with all that, they only have $100 left on a monthly basis. And like mathematically, it's going to take them 10 years to pay it off, or they could go through bankruptcy and then it's on for 7 to 10 years. It's just like, okay. At that point, if they can literally bring in an extra $500 a month, that could like more than double their progress towards paying off debt.
What do you think is the best side hustle?
I mean, I just recommend people getting a job as quick as possible. I know during the pandemic, there's some, Uber Eats and Ubering was pretty good. It's not as good anymore. It's a little hard. It's kind of, isn't it like kind of it's a low percentage that's actually making good money on it versus everyone else. Dude, I'm telling people there's a coffee shop up the street. I talked to the manager. I see him often. He's like, dude, I need to hire people. We're hiring people at $18 an hour. Please send your guests here. Please send them. And I'm like, go.
That's pretty good for a coffee shop now.
Yeah, I'm like, go. Yeah. Go brew some coffee. Go. I don't know. That's pretty good. And like they're desperate to hire people. They'll work schedules out. They'll figure it out. And if it doesn't work, it doesn't work. Try the place next door. service is still backfilling in a lot of cities. Not as much as before,
Interesting.
but they're still backfilling.
Yeah.
I know tech's hard. You can't just go out and get a random like side gig as easily in tech or anything. But if you work a little service for a bit, that's not a huge issue.
Anything with tips.
Yeah.
Tips can bring in some really good money,
Yeah.
actually.
Yeah. Just ask a few questions and
True. Flip this thing
answer
over
a few
real quick.
questions,
Yeah.
This clip is brought to you by our sponsor, Aura. Have you ever Googled yourself or a loved one and been absolutely shocked by all of the information that's publicly available online? Well, I did it recently, and it was really scary to find private information that was readily available on public data broker sites. Well, if you're scared about something like this too, that's where our sponsor, Aura, comes in. Not only does Aura monitor your personal data across the web, but it also helps you opt out of those invasive data broker websites. Plus, they offer identity theft protection with up to $5 million in insurance for your whole family, financial fraud alerts, and even a VPN to keep your online activity private. Personally, I'm not willing to leave my information and my family's security vulnerable, and you don't have to either. Go to aura.com/icedcoffeeclips to try it out for 2 weeks for completely free. And literally in just minutes, Aura will let you know if your personal information is exposed. Head to aura.com/icedcoffeeclips to see why it's worth it and protect what matters most. Seriously, guys, it's just 2 weeks completely for free. Try it out with the link down below in the description or aura.com/icedcoffeeclips. Thank you to Aura for sponsoring this podcast.